Hello. This discussion will be the end of my Returning to Zero series of videos. For anyone who hasn't seen my Returning to Zero series, it may be confusing to follow this particular discussion. But to summarize, Returning to Zero is this. As adults, we have built up a conglomeration of ideas that define what is supposed to be really important. Returning to zero is the process by which we individually clear our minds of these ideas, return to a clean identity, and rebuild for ourselves what we may personally decide is really important. The ultimate in this is to have no identity and follow no socially approved identity structures. Now, once you've done this, you are left with what you had as a child. As children, we have no artificially constructed success objectives, such as good worker, father, family man, successful businessman, good soldier, rich guy, or finally, to be the proverbial somebody. Now, as with all major life changes, we do run into a serious problem once we've returned to zero. It's the same problem that led us on the path of these artificial success objectives in the first place. As kids, we're faced with a myriad of people telling us what is really important. Essentially, we are surrounded by social advertising. Everyone wants us to follow some good thing that will make us into a success or a good person. I'm making quotation marks with my fingers. But once we rid ourselves of these false paths that inevitably let us down, what do? There was a reason we pursued those things in the first place, right? What is that internal feeling of need that drives us to pursue whatever it is that we are told to pursue? Some people want approval. Some want others to envy them. Some want acceptance by a group. Some want their fathers to be proud of them. Some want to align with their church's teachings. Some want to win in business. But these objectives didn't exist at the point of zero. Rather, we were given them by others. We were told, follow this objective, and you will be fulfilled. We do as we're told. We become somebody, so to speak, and immediately feel unfulfilled. We arrive at being somebody, and now we have to figure out where to go from there. Once you arrive at the point of zero and see all those former really important success objectives as dead ends, and see all others as no different, you are left with that same feeling of disappointment. What do I do now? Nothing is really important or worth doing now. I think MGTOW probably faced this more than most. They have thrown away the specific success objectives we call fatherhood, family man, and good husband. And they are left told by society they aren't doing what they're supposed to do. They feel they're not leaving a legacy by having children or whatever. This empty feeling that's left over is a problem. But what's the solution? What do we pursue that is really, really important? Not just artificially created. What's the right answer? What is really, really important now that we're no longer pursuing all those lies that we've developed over time? We all want to get this question right. This is what happens when someone is approached by religious nutcases. They tell you there's a God out there whom you will want to please. But see what's happening here. Follow that advice, and you're falling into the fallacy that there is such a thing as objective value. See my first video in this series for more on the idea of objective value. The religious person's advice is no different than your mother telling you, you need to be a lawyer, get a wife, a house, and a Lexus, and she'll be proud of you. See, once you've returned to zero and immediately start asking, what should I do? I really want to do something worth doing. You're committing the same fallacy you finally escaped. It's a bad question to ask. Do not ask what is really important. Nothing is really, really important. Everything is only relatively important. I don't care how important what you did is. It is only relatively important. And only a select group of people will ever know about it. Imagine for a second you're the President of the United States. You're the President of the United States. You did it. You are somebody. Can't get more somebody than that. Now you're hated by half the population. Some of your policies really do hurt some people. And 4 years later, you're voted out of office. and it's over. But you were somebody for 4 years. But now what? Does what you did really make you different, special, better? Does being somebody bring your journey to an end? No. But if you gain perspective during those 4 years, if you've grown your mind, you have a net gain. And before the obvious objections come, yes, the standard become someone usually involves obtaining money, fame, power, or what have you. And that's wonderful, that's great, blah-de-blah. I'm talking about the psychology of it all. The richest, most powerful among us commit suicide, and you will hear people ask, how could someone so rich and successful do such a thing? See, the label of success, not the action or achievement, is really what you're pursuing psychologically. You weren't really pursuing what everybody covets or thinks is really impressive. For example, if you're looking for love and you get all the girls you want but aren't getting exactly what you're actually searching for, you will be dissatisfied. Or how about if you're looking for love but you find out that what your now wife has in store for you is perpetual servitude to her whims and an inability to define your own destiny? You are definitely not getting what you want. What do you really want when you set out in life? You want whatever the artificial success objectives are that have been given to you as you grow up. I've labeled these things chains of identity. These are by and large fake and defined by someone else. As I said, MGTOW are most likely to run into the above problem. They have separated themselves from a universal assumption that a man must have a wife and family to be a real man or to be a real success. This is false. But they've been conditioned to assume these false ideas as reality. Once they've separated themselves, they are left having to fight against a knee-jerk reaction to do as they're told. They are left wanting to do what one is supposed to do. We've all been conditioned to do as we're told from day one, and if we don't know what to do next, we're conditioned to find someone to tell us what to do next. So what to do? Here's a solution. Find something you don't know. The final culmination of marriage is being caged in by artificial responsibilities which you've pledged to your significant other on pain of perpetual financial servitude. To my MGTOW brothers hearing this, I suggest doing what married people without a large trust fund are unable to do. Pursue that which you've never done before. Test your limits. Find that which you know nothing about and do it. See, if you're going into a goal pursuit knowing that you don't know where it ends, but knowing that once you know all that you can learn about it is the end of the journey, you yourself will be able to define the end of that journey. You decide when enough is enough, and are capable of moving on knowing that your opinion is all that matters. To become a success in life, a somebody, the end of that journey has been defined by someone else. But if you stand there, wherever you happen to be, simply look at all the things you haven't explored. Pick a direction and go that way until the road ends. You will be a life explorer. You will spend your life in time pursuing the unexplored. Life isn't about achieving somebody else's dream. Life is not about ending your life with an approved label. Life is life. You make it what it is. But the first step is admitting to yourself that you don't know what it is all about. We forget this as we grow up in a society bent on controlling our work, accumulated assets, our very being. Society runs on ownership of its members. MGTOW have broken from this pointless cycle, but I imagine they often feel adrift without direction. This is not their fault. It is the fault of our society, which has manipulated our minds into needing a purpose. When you were a child, you didn't need a purpose. You just saw what was out there around you, and you just did something. Ever gone skydiving? No? Do it. And yes, definitely do this. I've been a number of times, and it is absolutely worth it. Ever gone scuba diving before? Do it. You're a man with nothing to lose. Do what you've never done before. We have the technology now for you to explore anything you want. Want to lose weight? Run a marathon? Go do it. And as you wake up early to meet with the other runners, Do it with a mind of, let's keep going till we meet the goal, and then see where it goes from there. You won't see a marathon as an ultimate end. You will see it as a relative end. Make your entire life about exploration. You, in this modern world of endless information, in this interconnected world of endless possibilities, have no excuse to wallow in self-defeat or fear of loss. What do you have to lose? What do you have to gain? You have everything to gain. Your purpose is to expand your awareness beyond what you're already aware of. By seeing the world open to you, you can set out full of purpose, your own purpose that you've decided for yourself. And say you fail. Say you set out to be a doctor and fail your second round board test. Well, you can either decide you've seen enough and set about paying off your loans, or you can set about finding a way to keep going. Either way, you've failed no one. Had you been doing what you were supposed to do, you would have been attempting to fulfill someone else's chain of identity, and the shame would necessarily ensue. To fail is not to be a failure. Failing is a chance to obtain new information. You internalize that new information and just move on to the next experience. Take stock of what you have at your disposal and take advantage of something. You can't be a success as we commonly understand success. Why? Because there's always someone better. You will eventually lose. But if your reason for doing something is your own, it is you and only you that defines what true failure is. Did you fail the USMLE? Fuck it, you may say. You have no woman to nag you about it. Did you fail out of law school? Fuck it, you may say. It's your life, and you learned how to think like a lawyer. Okay, keep going. Do something till you like something. Of course, you will have to make money and manage your own affairs, but that nagging psychological idea of being a success, of finding an identity, that sucker is yours. That most egregious of all naggers is now owned by you, and you alone. When you fail, you won't be a failure. That particular chapter of your life has simply come to a close. Nobody cares but you. See, going MGTOW, you are defining your own life, and you can't lose anything. Why? Because the value of any pursuit is valued on your own internal scale of value. See my video, A Proper Definition of Love, for more on this. You decided to pursue something, not because someone told you what is important. You decided to pursue something because you decided it is important for no other reason than you value that thing. This is the end result of returning to zero. This is the end result of freeing oneself from societal indoctrination. This, and I may be speaking out of turn here being an AWM, but this is the end result of going MGTOW. To truly be MGTOW, and again, this is my own perspective and I speak for myself only. To truly be MGTOW is to rediscover how to independently value things in your life. So, I would say to the listener, return to zero. Take stock of what you have at your disposal, and then pick a direction. You've decided what is worth exploring. It may be academic, it may be business, it may be sports, it may be artistic hobby, it may be travel, it may be self-improvement. But it always must be chosen for your own reasons. It must be chosen by you for no other reason than you have decided that it is valuable to you in some way. I've come to the end of this discussion. This Returning to Zero series is my philosophy of identity. I hope it helps someone, and I wish you the best in your journey. Thanks for listening.